Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Moving Spotlight podcast. Very excited that you're here. Today's topic is one we've become a new type of show. We're now a relationship show, Corbin.
Ooh, we are.
No, but I want to talk about that. I want to talk about like what makes a healthy, loving relationship. I realized, not that I didn't realize it, but my parents have been married 49 years.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats to them.
St. Patrick's Day is their wedding anniversary.
Weird.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
An interesting time to get married.
And we're not Irish, so I don't know. I don't know if like that
No.
there's even. But what's really neat is that they're still together, and I see, them being supportive of each other and loving each other, and it's pretty awesome to see. What do you think makes a good relationship?
For me, I think just in general, it's all the obvious stuff. So like communication and also being able to. What's important to me is to assume that I don't mean the wrong thing. Like sometimes I make mistakes and that's okay. I also want you to be able to say that. Tell me when you're upset or tell me when something's going wrong. But I think at the end of the day, it's communicating, being able to understand what the other person's saying and going back and forth and diffusing it because you don't want it to explode and be a nightmare situation quickly.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I'm guessing, Corbin, when you find that special person, you'll throw all that out the window.
Oh, yeah. I'll start yelling. I'll get all angry.
It'll all
Pick up the clothes.
Well, the reason I want to talk about that is the couple we're having today, who are just an amazing couple. I think they're awesome. I want to welcome Remy and Natalie Wallace to the show. Hello,
Hi.
They're life coaches, entrepreneurs, and parents. So
many things.
Welcome to the show, you two. Yes.
What is up?
Hi, how are you doing?
Thank you so much, John. How many years did you say your parents?
49.
49.
So
yes.
It's incredible. And her parents just celebrated, I think, 52.
52?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And it just amazes me whenever you hear about a relationship lasting that long. My parents definitely did not.
Mine either. Yeah.
My parents split up when I was 7.
Mm.
So, and really all the close friends in my neighborhood growing up, none of their parents were together. So I never really saw a lot of positive examples when it came to marriage growing up until, I met Natalie.
Oh.
So it's special.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I love asking people that have been together for like a long period of time. I'm like, what's your secret? Just tell me like what your secret is. And the answers that you get are just like awesome. Like you think it would be typical, like communication, sense of humor, blah, blah, blah. But it always is like just something that has to do with their personality and it's unique. And it's like one of my favorite things to ask people.
Every year, do you get a little bit cockier about how long you've lasted when you compare to other newer relationships with you guys? Do you guys start to brag?
I think we definitely we're like relationship experts.
Yeah.
At the point. Whether we are or not, this is our 10 year. So
congrats.
We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary in October. And yeah, I feel like we're doing pretty good.
That's really interesting. Yeah, Annie and I in July will celebrate our 10-year
this
year. So that's
I'm
very
super single. No, sorry.
It's like super single.
Well, Corbin, just I was 35 when Natalie and I got married. So I waited a long time because of what happened with my family. I had a very negative view on marriage. And I thought it was the institution of marriage that was the problem until I met Natalie, and it was just the right fit. It was the right person that changed my whole, my whole perception on that. So it'll happen.
Soul search. That's good.
So I did want to start with that, but I want to kind of transition. And since I know you're both former actors, maybe still doing some acting, but I know that, and also now being entrepreneurs. And one of the things I just wanted to kind of jump into, how is being an entrepreneur like being an actor?
It's the same. Like it's a business, you have to, as an actor, you have to run your acting business as a business, which means you have to self-motivate. You have to have intrinsic motivation to get up every day and do the things do the activities that it's going to take to be successful as an actor. And with entrepreneurship, it's the same thing. You don't have a boss telling you what to do. You know, as an actor, you have an agent, but if you don't make it to an audition, like they'll chuck you, you know, they'll just be like, you're gone, you know?
But really accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's really similar. You know,
I think entrepreneurs and actors have similar brains. Creatives and entrepreneurs have very similar brain waves in how we handle things and how we, you know, maybe we do something really great. We have a really great audition. We're like, you know what? Let's reward ourselves. And then we like reward ourselves for like 3 days. And then we're like, oh, we got to get back started. Like, you know, like, and it's the ability to have really great habits grounded. You have to have really, really good habits and really good systems in order to be a successful actor and in order to be a successful entrepreneur. Like without like habits and systems, it's not going to hold.
How did you two create, whether when you were acting or now as entrepreneurs, how did you create those habits and systems? I think that's a really interesting. Was it from reading books? Was it talking to people? Was it with each other? You know, did you write it down? How did you create that?
Yeah, I mean, the two are so similar because when you're acting, you're just jumping from failure to failure, right? Like you're going from audition to audition to, you know, a script that doesn't work out to a project that doesn't work out. And entrepreneurship is very, very similar to that. And you do have to have the mindset and the habits in place, the systems in place really to keep you going from failure to failure, so that, you know, you fail. If most people, what they do in acting and in entrepreneurship is they fail a few times and then they think, I'm not good at this. I'm going to quit. Or they lose that intensity or the passion they have for it because they failed a few times. And if you don't have a strong enough mindset and the systems in place to keep you going, then you will fail. It doesn't matter, you know, how good you are, how talented you are, how strong you are. If you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. You have to have those systems in place. So that's what we really talk a lot about, you know, with our business team, and really we talk to each other about it all the time. It's like, hey, we've got to have the routine down. We've got to make sure we're being consistent in all these areas and doing things that are really uncomfortable on a daily basis.
For me, I think it was definitely reading some books and having accountability partners. Like we have mentorship and we had coaches and we had people who were kind of holding us to that. Like, well, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. So why not? So let's figure out, was it a motivational issue, or was it like a, you know, you just didn't feel like doing it, or was it your schedule got in the way? Well, let's break down your schedule and figure out how we can make that happen. So I think it was doing something that creatives and entrepreneurs maybe doesn't always come second nature, is to like get hyper organized, like super organized with your schedule. Like it's not fun to like have to map out every hour of your day or have to know that, you know, like it's not fun and it's not like cool and spontaneous, but like you have to, if you're going to create a system, like systems aren't spontaneous, you know?
Yeah.
You know, they can't be, that it's not a system. So like to get yourself organized in your home, to, you know, match up your mind, body, spirit, to like make sure that all of, I don't want to say balance because there's no such thing as that. But like to make sure that things in your life are getting some attention and the attention that you want it to, so that you can create the life that you want. But really for us, that was accountability, that was coaching, that was mentorship.
With that in mind, how do you both work together when it comes to that accountability? And also, do you make a conscious decision to shut it off at times, or like how does that work in the day-to-day for you both?
We really don't keep each other accountable when it comes to business. I would say we let our coaches do that, because I think like, yeah, like if I were to come to Remy and be like, so you said you were going to have 10 meetings this week and you only had 5. What happened? Like, you know, I too much
bleep, 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 bleep. Resentment scale. Bleep, 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 bleep. The resentment meter just like he maxed out, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Like the last thing I want to have happen is have like our passion and our dream and our end goal cause resentment or cause any sort of like crack in between us. So we should be building each other up and not judging each other. You know, like, because he could very well the next week hold that mirror right back up to me. Like, who knows what's going to happen, right? So we go to our coach for things like that when we need some accountability. But I would never.
You're very good at that. Like, she's much better at that than I am, because, and I've learned from her when it comes to that, because I think early on as business owners and entrepreneurs, and I think I would get angry that things weren't moving fast enough. And when you're angry, you look to place blame instead of looking yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility. And I was always looking to place blame. I still do it to some degree. I think we all do. But I think to be conscious and aware when things aren't going well, to look at yourself and go, what can I do to improve our circumstances, instead of depending on the other person? I think, like, I used to depend on her. If we were in a down phase or something wasn't going right, I would depend on her to get us out by me placing blame, instead of me going, like, stepping up and being like, hey, where's my blame in this? And not that it's about placing blame, but just taking responsibility and saying, what can I do to improve from here, like moving forward, instead of looking back and regretting or placing blame, right? So that's definitely, like, she's very good at not ever making me feel like I'm not doing enough or placing blame on me. I do plenty. She knows that I do that to myself. You know,
Gotcha.
like I definitely hold myself accountable, you know, enough. And so she doesn't do that to me. And she always has built me up and encouraged me instead of coming down on me if we're going through like a down phase.
I mean, we're not perfect. That makes it sound like we're just, everything is like, well, we've always been this way.
No.
Like, there's a whole learning curve that comes with that. And like our coach, one of our coaches said to me once, like, when you get defensive, because I feel like I would be like, he says something to me and I get like really mad. And she's like, what is the emotion before you get defensive? Like, what is the feeling like before you're like, oh, or like, why are you feeling like you want to attack? Like, why are you feeling like you want to defend yourself? She's like, just take a second to see if that defensive, like the reason you're getting defensive is because they're hitting you in a truth spot. And if they're hitting you in a truth spot, maybe dive in there a little bit, see like if there's something to that. So I've gotten really good at like, just going to breathe on that for a moment. I'm going to take a second and see, and then come back and be like, okay, I'm ready to talk about it, because I think maybe that was something that I could learn.
Yeah, it's interesting because you know, when I'm teaching like acting and things, and sometimes you hit on something for someone that Natalie, of what you're talking about, maybe they're defensive or maybe they've kind of got walls around, and you can see them slip like sometimes, or want to argue or fight back, and there's a reason for that. Obviously there's a reason the person does that, but it's also interesting when you see the person who's kind of willing to like sit with it a bit and kind of accept it and see, you know, like if there's any truth to it or something. Or, you know, I remember being in classes myself where I'm in class and someone's like arguing with something that's somewhat truthful. And it's like, well, you could argue all you want, but you could also just try it, you know, like let's say in the scene, and see if it works or not, see if it changes anything, or you can keep arguing, you know, and do it the way you just did it, you know. And I think that's interesting. That's a great, you know, observation. What are, when you two, what are some challenges? Like, do you feel like you have internal challenges or external challenges, you know, trying to run a business, being parents, things like that? What do you find that come up as challenges?
Everything.
life in general, John.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's chaotic, man.
It's chaotic. I do not naturally go to like, let's be very organized and calm, and that's just not my personality. I have ADHD, so like for me to like really plan out everything is torturous way, like for me. But you know, I had to say, like, if I don't, everything else falls. So what's more important, me just like not changing, not getting uncomfortable, so that I can be comfortable, I guess, or like just letting everything that I actually really want like fail. I didn't want that. So our communication's really great, because before we put one thing in our calendar, there's like 10 moving parts that need to be like, make sure that are locked in, like kids drop off and pick up, who has the car, who has, you know, who's going to be home with the one kid that doesn't go to school yet, who, you know, is it nap time? Is it like all of those things? Mostly it surrounds the kids, to be honest with you, you know, like most of the time before we put something in our schedule. But a lot has to happen in order for us to actually put something in there. So it takes a lot of patience, a lot of patience and grace, like so much grace. Like you have to give yourself more grace than you've ever given yourself in your life, and be like, well, that didn't work. That did not work. That really blew up in our face, didn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we're not going to do that again. Here's why it didn't work for me. Is that cool? Like we had to get to the point where it's like, we cannot take any meetings from 5 to 7 p.m. Like no meetings will happen during that time, because we started off like, let's take these meetings. And then there's like chairs flying and food going and one parent is doing it. And,
so basically like right the way it looked right before we came on this meeting.
Just second before.
Literally seconds.
Yeah. How has the transition been? Now there, you know, there's people that there's always people coming to LA, but there's also people moving out of LA. So I know, you know, people have been moving to Austin, and then you guys recently moved. So how has that transition been, moving from Los Angeles? Because I know sometimes people are curious, you know, just, you know, leaving a big city or moving to a big city. So, you know, how's it been for you, both of you, the change?
Yeah. So we never thought we were going to leave Los Angeles. So I'm from Philly. Early on in my career, I was in the sports industry in Philly. I was working for the Flyers and Sixers at the arena in Philadelphia, and realized pretty early on that I was not meant to be doing that. Like I was not happy or feeling fulfilled, working crazy hours. I was not meant to be an employee or work a traditional job lifestyle. That's just not who I am. And towards the end of college, I had taken some acting classes. I acted as a kid, took some acting classes towards the end of college. And I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to pursue acting. And luckily I had parents who were like super supportive of that choice and encouraged me to do it. And I quit. And I think everyone in, you know, my industry at the time and the, you know, the people that I was working with in the arena were probably kind of surprised by that choice. But that decision led to so many miracles in my life. You know, I moved to New York City. You know, I got rid of the nice car, the nice apartment, moved to New York City, lived on a friend's futon in Queens for 2 years. You know, my rent was $300 a month. I was working as a waiter in Times Square, New York, like the worst restaurant ever.
What was it? Bubba Gump Shrimp or something? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, but I worked at Bubba Gump in Santa.
I've never been there, so don't come hate at me, guys.
You're right.
I don't know.
Awful. But you know what? I met some incredible people there, and we met. That's true. We met because. So like that's what I mean. Like it led to that decision of me leaving that corporate job led to so many miracles for me, and led me to Natalie. And so I've gone through several pivots in my life, right? Leaving the corporate world, pursuing acting and filmmaking, lived in New York, moving to LA. And I've only ever lived in like inner city, like Philly, row home, right? Right next door, you could hear everything that was going on with the neighbor, like everything that was going on in the neighbor's house. And they could hear everything that was going on in our house. So if I was going to fight with my sister, the neighbor called me, is everything okay? Are you okay? And my sister's in the background like, no, I need help.
You're fine.
You know, so, you know, and then New York City, living in, you know, a living room, and then LA, you know, we were in apartments, and small apartments where you could hear everything. And I mean, honest to God, there was one time where, remember the apartment in Sherman Oaks, where literally the girl next door was a stripper. We believe she was a stripper. And she, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it was a whole bunch of things, right? So she had this boyfriend who we think was a drug dealer, and he at one point punched, they were in a fight, and he punched through the wall
to your home.
And then
she
comes running out and starts banging on the door, being like, help me, let me in, he's gonna kill me. And I'm like, I look over, and like Nola, our first, she was a baby at the time, was like taking a nap, and I'm like,
no, this is crazy town.
She's like texting me, and I was still working at the time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna open the door, right? Like, I don't open the door. He's like, don't open the door. Like, you're not opening the door.
Remy was at Bubba Gum.
I think I was working at Morton Steakhouse.
Yeah, you might have been.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I remember getting that text and just being like, yeah, do not open.
Of course.
And then, you know, so we've always lived in these, like, you know, small urban areas where like everyone's packed in like sardines. And so moving to Charlotte, now our house in Charlotte probably would be like 1.5 to 2 million in LA, you know, and we've got space, we've got a front yard, a backyard, we've got space in between the house. You can't hear, they can't hear us, we can't hear them. And sometimes for me, it's culture shock because I'm not used to it. I'm used to cars honking and ambulances and police sirens and yelling and dogs barking. And I mean, you name it, I've seen it or heard it. So, so it's definitely been different, but we love it. Like for this time in our life, we're in the perfect spot. You know, we never thought we'd leave LA, but we did. And will we be here forever? Probably not. But for where we are right now, it's great. It's a great place for kids and families. And we've met some incredible people here. We were worried about the diversity moving to the South. We're worried about, you know, political views and all of that stuff. But Charlotte's a really cool area. A lot of great people. People are very open-minded here, and
like a good ability to have different conversations, have open conversations. And
Remy, one question with all that for you. Did you get the minivan yet? Have you bought the minivan? Because with the direction you're heading, I mean, I know it's either there or it's right around the corner.
I mean,
nothing's off the table.
That's good.
Stopping at 3, but
no, we're stopping at 3.
We're stopping at 3.
Okay. Okay. Good.
No, we made that decision, right? We had talked about it, and we're like, we're never getting a minivan. But like Natalie says, never say never. And we have, what do we have? We have a Honda Pilot.
Okay.
That's by far the biggest car I've ever had. It's got 3 rows. Yeah. And I'll be honest, John, it's not enough space.
I'm like, we need a luggage rack on the top of our car. Like, we're gonna be those people. We need a luggage rack on the top of our car for freaking groceries.
It's so funny. Yeah. I love it. No, that's amazing, and it's not enough space for sure. Well, I want to jump back a little bit, and with what you were saying, I think it's interesting, Natalie. You said kind of this idea of not having work-life balance, or balance is like really challenging to achieve. So how do you figure out how to, if your day is kind of an open day, because I think that's one of the things that's interesting right now with you know, people working from home, people kind of being their own bosses. I know we talked about systems, but how do you kind of prioritize, like, this is the stuff I need to get done, you know, these are the things, like, do you set goals? How do you do that? Because I'm kind of interested. Obviously you're in a new place, but I still feel like what's great about right now is people can work from different cities. They can work from different places, but it's part of like, well, if you're going to be like working from home or whatever, you know, you got to be on top of it yourself. Right.
Absolutely. So Remy and I we figured out like what are the things that are important to us. For us, we wanted to get control of like our health, like our healthy habits. We wanted to get control of like our mental habits, like just our mindset and growing our mindset and just becoming better. That 1% better every day, like doing that. And we wanted to grow our business. It's part of the reason why we moved out here is because we're like, our businesses can run online. So why aren't we getting bigger? So we realized because we have our youngest, Rocky, who's 1 year old, like we were like, he's home with us all the time. He has 2 naps during the day. Sometimes they're inconsistent, but like we know when that happens generally. So Remy and I created a schedule where like from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., Remy can do whatever he needs to get done for the day. And then from 10 a.m. to noon is my time to whether that's like working out or like healthy, wealthy habits, all of that gets done in that time. So Remy figured out like, okay, after I drop the first off at school, he's got time before his 8 to 10 block happens in going into that time to like work out as many times during the week as he needs to. But like we're literally like, unless a bone is showing, do not open the store. Like this is my time to get whatever that needs to get done.
Whoa.
That's my line. I don't know about your line.
Or a fist through the wall. Even if a fist is through the wall, don't open that door.
No, it's not even not that bad. Figure it out.
She's gonna punch me later.
You'll deserve it.
Now in my mind, over and over. So, unless something really, unless you absolutely, it's dire that you need me, this is my time. And so we respect that. And then we come together at noon, we have lunch together, and then the rest of the day happens. The rest of the day involves like the pickups, the second naps, the getting ready for dinner, the family time at the end of the day. And then we can go back after the kids are in bed and have like nighttime meetings. So the second half of the day really belongs to like us spending time together, because that was something else that was really important. How do you prioritize like that time together? That's not like the leftover at the end of the day where we're both like, high five. We kept the kids alive. We're alive. And like, I don't want that to be the time that I spend with you. I want so like lunchtime is like a great time for us to come together and be like, okay, like, hey, like, what'd you do? What'd you get done? Okay, great. Like, this is what, whatever. It's like, we can have middle of the day time, and then we can have date nights on the weekend when we get a sitter or one of our parents are in town or something. But I think that that's important to figure out what is important to you. For us, we're like, the most important relationship that we have is each other first before our kids. That's just how we feel. It doesn't, some people might not agree with that, but we feel like we have to constantly be working on our relationship and not putting our children ahead of us. Because they're eventually going to leave us and we're stuck with each other. So that has to be like outside of our business life. We have to have a good relationship outside of our business partnership. So, that's really important. Our family time is really important. Not being on our phones in front of our kids as much as we possibly can. It's really, really, really hard. Never anticipated that being like a difficult thing, but sometimes you don't even realize it. Like all of a sudden it's in front of your face. And like just, us time, family time, business time. So I had a good friend of mine who's a coach give me this example, and it was the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. She's like, you look at your habits and your priorities like a soundboard with all the levers. She's like, if everything was up at the same level, it would sound like crap. Right? She's like, so sometimes the bass has to be up, but the treble has to be down. Sometimes the vocals have to be all the way up, and sometimes like they all look like this. And that's exactly what our priorities have to look like. Sometimes that, your family life needs more attention. Right now, our daughter just had a tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy. And like, she had like these crazy large adenoids. So it made her surgery 3 times as long. And her recovery has just been a little bit more difficult than we thought it was going to be. So some of our meetings had to take a like, hey, can we reschedule? Like my kid needs me right now. I'm not going to just throw a tablet in front of her face when she can like barely talk. Like she needs me. So I need to bring back my business lever and push up my family lever for a second. And then there are times where we're like, guess what, kids? Tablet time and popcorn. Congratulations. Your parents are awesome. So also only come in here if you really, really need us. So that's when the business time goes up and the family time comes down a little bit. So like it's always just everything is going to get attention. It's just not all going to be at the same time. And you have to give yourself grace to like allow that to be that way. And I think people are always trying to find balance, a work-life balance. I think just throwing that word out the window and realizing that like some priorities are going to take precedence over a certain amount of time. You just don't know. And if you can give yourself grace with that, then you'll be fine.
I really like that. It also changes per song. It's going to change every day. It's going to change. You got to be able to adjust how you're going to do it. You mentioned like coaching and all that again. I was curious when it comes to surrounding yourself with people, like what's the thing that you look for in other individuals that you want to keep them around you? Because also, I think I've noticed in life the 5 closest people around you are the people that push you forward or do the things that you're going to end up doing, and the people you hang out with. So I wonder, what is the thing that you both look for in others and want to grow with?
Yeah,
I always say to people, like if I'm talking with somebody and they're like a potential coaching client or they are a potential business partner for us, I'm like, we will not move forward if I can't see you like sitting at my kitchen table with my kids. Mm-hmm. Because even though if it's a coaching client, like I might not say that to a coaching client, but I'm thinking it because I'm still allowing their mindset to come into my mindset. Mm-hmm. I'm still allowing like, like what they're saying to penetrate into my my brain. So I want to make sure like the people that are around us have similar values to us, have similar mindsets to us, because if not, you sort of take it on. Like you said, if I'm going to be the average of the 5 people I spend the most amount of time with, I want to make sure that those are some stellar people, that they're fun, that they're ambitious, that they have something else going on in their life, like other than just like playing video games and drinking beer all night. And like, I don't know. That's just me.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And what you said, Corbin, like that statement about the people you surround yourself with is in so many books. So many successful people from all different industries have said that. It's in so many books. Like after a while, you realize, man, it must be true.
Yeah.
Not everything you read or see on the internet is true, and not everything you read in books is true. But that statement is, I've found it to be wildly true. Like, I'm from Philly, and when you're from Philly, you're loyal to the people you grew up with. You're loyal to your neighborhood. You're loyal to your sports teams. You're loyal to your parents. You're loyal to your job. And so that's something that I've struggled with, because in some way I thought that associating with different people as time wore on meant I was less loyal in some way. And it's not true. I feel like you can still love people, be close to people, have a relationship with people, but there's certain periods in your life, like there's that saying, people are with you for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I've definitely found that to be true. Over the last 8 years of our journey, just doing a lot of networking, meeting a lot of different people. And there's people that you really just need to have in your life. And you want a support group that is moving in the same direction as you. That is just so important. So yeah, I think you can still be loyal and love the people that are in your life currently, but still move on and spend a little more time around the people that are going to help you move forward in the areas that you really care about for that season in your life. And that's fair for you to do. as an individual and as a business owner, as an actor.
And I think you can find those people, you can seek them out. Sometimes they can kind of come to you. And I think that you can find that a lot of times through passions. What are your passions? What are you passionate about? That's where you can meet somewhat kind of like-minded. Because I was thinking, Remy, the way we met was the pandemic had first started. And I thought it would be great to connect with some other like-minded dads. I was like, I want to meet some other like-minded dads. So I put a thing like on Facebook, and only 2 people showed up, Corbin, just Remy and another guy. Okay. So it was kind of a failure in from the outside perspective. Okay. But here's what happened that was really interesting. One, Remy and I became buddies, which was awesome because the other guy ended up jumping off, and then Remy and I just chatted for like another hour or 2. So I found a friend just by putting that out there, even though in my mind I was like, this is a failure. And the other guy was part of another dad's group that had like 40 people. So I just folded my dad's group and joined that one. And I was able to be part of this group for a couple of months. Right. So by me taking a chance and putting that out there and seeing what happened and kind of almost it feeling like a failure, which it wasn't, but putting that energy out there, then that's how I met Remy. That's how I met the other guy. I met that other group. And it was by taking a chance, but also my passion about being a dad and wanting to meet other people that were excited about, trying to be better husbands, better fathers, better people that were outside my normal circle. Right.
I remember that, John, like really well, that meeting, because I definitely went downstairs to Natalie afterwards, and she's like, what took so long? I thought the meeting was supposed to be like 45 minutes.
It's in our calendar.
Yeah. Like, I'm down here wrangling 3 kids. Like, what?
No, I don't even think it was 3 at that point.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. And because this was, was this?
No, it would have been 2. It would have been 2 because it was like
about a year ago.
Maybe about a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
But Ruby was a baby, like she was, 1.5 or something.
Yeah.
So I remember going down and being like, so after the annoyance of me taking too long in the meeting, she asked me, how the meeting was. And I was like, I just made a new friend. Like, it's not easy for guys to make friends. Like, it's weirder for guys, it's harder for guys to make friends. And so I remember like how awesome that conversation was. And I remember Dave jumping off and me and John being like, well, we still want to talk. And like, and we just hit it off. And I honestly remember thinking like when we were leaving LA, like I felt bad telling John that because I was like, we're about to have like a true romance here.
Yeah.
And we wanted to hang out. Like we didn't we do like a Zoom with
We
you?
did.
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
and like we just really,
We were like, oh, there's awesome.
we really liked them a lot. We liked
Yeah.
you guys a lot. And we were so like sad that, that didn't get to form like in person, get to hang out in person. But this is awesome because we're still connected. And,
Yes.
just to be clear about something too, Natalie and I never quit entertainment industry. So we took a few steps back when things got really chaotic and we had NOLA and we were really struggling in some key areas, like really bad, like finances were awful and we were just struggling. And so we took a few steps back, got some incredible advice and guidance from Natalie's parents, who are like ridiculously successful in their industry. And we decided to take some time and fix that part of our life so that we could eventually get back to the things that we're really passionate about. But also our part of our passion became our family. So whereas I used to be so passionate about being an actor and about creating art, that's still a passion of mine deep down. And that will always be there. But my family became that number one passion for me. That became what I was most passionate about. And I realized this. And in some way, it was hard for me to take a step back because I was thinking about the judgment people were going to have, like, oh, you're quitting acting or you're leaving this to do this. And it wasn't that at all. It was that we wanted to focus, go all in on one thing and get really good at it so that we would free up our time and have some degree of financial freedom so that we could jump back into the things that we're passionate about and be able to do it without the stress of trying to, put food on the table and all the things that come with being an adult and being a parent. So now that we're in Charlotte, we're very much feeling this. We feel like we're in a good place now. Besides all the medical stuff that I'll have to tell you about some other time, John, like that's come up over the last like month with all the kids. And but yeah, we don't need to depress everybody. But
no, everything's fine now.
It's a journey. Life is a journey. I get it. Things happen.
Yeah. So now we're in this place where we're actually looking to jump back in. I just came up with an idea this morning for a screenplay I'm going to write. And I'm telling her mom about it. I'm like so excited about this thing. Like I can't wait to tell you about it, John. It's like, it's awesome. But we're looking to jump back in. So if anyone out there knows people in Charlotte that want to connect us to, we'd love some feedback in that area.
Beautiful.
Other actors, casting directors, agents, we're open. We're looking to get back in. So
you guys are going to be the hub with a lot of spokes in Charlotte. I can already see it, Remy and Natalie. I can already see that. That's great. I wanted to ask, how did you two? I looked on your website. There's some photos. It looks like some public speaking. How did you each get comfortable public speaking? I know that's something people sometimes can struggle with. How did you two get comfortable with that?
I was a karaoke host for many, many years.
Are you serious?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was like my main.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. That's right. Taco Tuesdays at the Gaslight in Santa Monica.
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yikes. So we, I actually worked at Dimples in Burbank, which is like the first karaoke bar that ever exists. Claim to fame, right? I worked there for 7 years, 7 or 10 years.
That long?
Yeah, it was
Wow,
long.
man.
Natalie, I got to say one night, me and some actor friends, we went to Dimples. Dimples closed at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. We had a couple cocktails. I had not. And we had the great decision to drive to Vegas at 2 a.m. on a Saturday. So we went from Dimples. This is a true story. Drove from Dimples to Vegas. Can I tell you, from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., everybody fell asleep in the car because it was a terrible idea. And then you get there on Sunday, everyone's exhausted and people have to be back for work on Monday. So it's it was one of the worst. You still have to get a hotel room because you need to sleep. Everyone needed a nap. And then we had to drive back. So
You're
Dimples
like, why did we do this?
Dimples holds a very special place. That's in your 20s though, maybe early 30s.
Dude, you've seen Swingers, right? Swingers.
Yes, it felt like, of course.
Like,
Yes.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
That's
like,
where we were when we left Dimples, Natalie. And then by the time we were there, everyone was sleeping. That is a true.
Everyone's like, we literally just decided to drive to Vegas and come back. Like that was it.
Terrible. It was
Oh
a
my
bad
God.
idea. But Dimples started it, so I blame you. All right, so wait, go on. So you were at Dimples.
Probably
So
not.
you host there? Is that where you were you in front of people there?
That's
Oh,
where I
okay.
started. It was like I was in an acting class in the Valley that was kind of close to there, and they would go to Dimples after their like casting director showcase that they would used to have. This is going back like a long time ago, like over 20 years ago. And so like we would go to Dimples, and then I was like, can I get a job here? Because I think I was like 19 or 20 at the time. And so it was like, I was like 20 at the time. And he was like, can you get a fake ID? I was like, yeah, I will. Go down to Alvarado Street, got myself a fake ID, got a job at Dimples. Boom. And I worked there for a really long time. And then
we can't play Natalie, we can't play the story for our children until they're older. There's so much wrong here. The Vegas trip, the fake IDs. This is okay. So go on.
But yeah, and then I just got like into that karaoke scene. Like I know every single spot, and I've hosted at every single spot, probably different days of the week. And I forgot where this. Oh yeah. So I was just used to being on a microphone, just used to talking to people, because the more like outgoing I was, the more money I made. And at that time I was just trying to make money. So it was like, let's go, let's get everybody invited. Oh, let's get up here and have fun. And that was just but that's my personality. That suited my personality really well. And my only problem was just like corralling like what I had to say. So when I started actually public speaking and getting paid for that, it was like, okay, you have a lot to say, but I mentioned earlier, I have ADHD. So I'm like, and then like, I'm still like, kicking and screaming, and it's been 3 hours. So like get to the point. So I had to figure out how to like corral like my message. So just lots of coaching there too, like figuring out how to I don't know, get to the point.
Yeah. No, that's great though. I love that. So you kind of had the reps doing the karaoke, but then figuring out how to kind of find what your message is succinctly, but keeping your same great energy. Love that. Remy, what about for you?
What was the question? Sorry.
How'd you get good at public speaking, or more comfortable with it?
Oh, I'm still not comfortable with public speaking.
No.
So every time that I know I'm going to be saying something from stage, I have to be completely prepared. I have to write down every single thing. Even on some Zoom meetings that we've done where I knew that I was speaking for an extended period of time, I would literally write down every thought and the way that I would want to say it, just because I felt like I had to be so prepared. And even tonight before this meeting, I was like, all right, how can I prepare for this podcast? And then I was like, I'm just going to let that go and just have fun on the podcast. And I'm glad that I did that. And that's another thing I've learned from Natalie, by the way. She just does it. She just goes and does it and improvs and has fun. And she doesn't like stress. If I know that I'm about to do a speaking gig, I stress on it for days in advance.
We operate differently.
Yeah.
We have two completely different personalities when it comes to that.
But I want to be more like that. Is what I'm saying.
But it's interesting because with Annie, my wife, I say Annie's really great at planning for the moment, and I'm really great at enjoying the moment, and it works really nice together. Both of those. And maybe I want to be a little better of a planner, and she wants to enjoy the moment more. So there is that kind of like you're both saying. There's kind of a little bit of a pulling towards each other, even if. What's your significant other like, Corbin?
Oh yeah, she really likes to plan.
It's messed up.
Yeah, it's drive-by. I didn't.
Corbin says it's the funniest when I tease him. So I hate teasing. It's not my nature at all. But Corbin asked me to. Here's the thing. I know Corbin's going to find someone amazing, and I know it's going to happen. So I don't mind teasing him now because he's going to be like later on. See, John, I told you. So
I honestly, I am the planning for the moment though. I relate to Annie a lot more for sure. So I think I need somebody who's like, we're living in this right now. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
It's nice to find that. Yeah, that. Well, we're not supposed to say balance around Natalie, but yeah, just finding that with your partner. Well, we've got one final section we like to put on people. We call it your best bad acting. Okay, so for this, now I know you said you kind of stepped back, but you're still in it, which is good. So the idea is Corbin's going to send you some lines in the chat for each of you. And
this is where you could have sent it to me in advance so I could have prepared.
That's why we didn't do it.
Now,
you can have fun with this. You don't need to do an impersonation. If you look at who it is, it's from a movie you're probably going to at least recognize. And what it is you'll do it, have fun with it. Exactly. I just saw Natalie's face as she read it.
We're doing this to each other.
You'll do it with each other. Yep. And we may or may not give you like a redirect or something fun. So whenever you guys are ready, you can go for it.
You're pathetically predictable, like a moth to the flame. What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gabby.
Wrong.
Out of your mind. Jump my line.
You jumped your line. Yeah. All right, so cut. We need to reset.
Yeah.
Okay, reset.
Back to your marks.
Back to your marks. Natalie, don't jump his line. All right. First of all, that was amazing.
So good.
That's so good. I actually don't even have notes. I just want to see it again. Corbin, do you have anything right out of the gate?
No, I want to see it again. Okay. I do have a redirect, but it's just a fun one.
Okay, so let's just try to get it clean this time, Natalie, which means you don't talk on his lines, as I know you know. All right, we're just gonna try to get it clean from the top. All right, you got a lot more lines than him, Natalie. So let him get his two out. All right. So whenever you two are ready. All right.
You're pathetically predictable, like a moth to the flame. What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gabby. Out of your mind.
Wrong answer.
Oh
yeah!
Oh, so good. I can listen to Remy say Gabby so
often. Oh my God. The finger point.
Gabby.
Are you in or are you out? Oh my God. So good. Corbin,
Was this a real line?
This is from Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know which one.
Spider-Man
No.
2, I want to say.
Spider-Man
No,
2,
1,
maybe.
right?
Yeah. 1?
I don't know.
We found it on one of them. Corbin, what's the redirect?
So the redirect, Remy, I want you did a sister voice earlier. You did like a high-pitched sister voice. I want to hear that.
Oh my
I want to hear that
love
come
it.
through. And then Natalie, I really, really want to hear your karaoke gathering in everybody.
Oh, this is good. I'm already excited for this. This is good. Yeah. Yeah. Be loose with it, Natalie, if you need to be. This is good. All right.
Okay. You're pathetically predictable, like a moth to the flame. What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gabby. Out of your mind.
Wrong answer.
Love it so much.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was like
I
Mickey
love
Mouse, and then
I love that you two just went for it.
Yes.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I have no redirect. That was
Oh.
amazing. That was perfect. That was great. Great redirect, Corbin. Oh my gosh. Natalie, if that was your karaoke voice, I could see there was a lot happening there.
I pictured it,
And-
but yeah, you're
and-
wrong answer.
Wrong answer. That's where I saw it too, Corbin, in that line. The wrong
Yeah.
answer. Who's coming up next? I could just see the energy of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, you two. This was fabulous. Always a pleasure chatting with you. It's so wonderful. I'm really, even though you're not in Los Angeles anymore, I'm really happy that we met before you guys left, and that we get to still stay in touch and in contact, and that you're doing this and that things are going well. You know, I know I speak for Corbin and I that it's lovely to see you two together and you know, doing your business, doing your family, doing all of that. So it's really wonderful energy. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys
Thanks,
for having us. It
guys.
means a lot. And yeah, we wish you the best. I think what you're doing is awesome, and it's really
Fun.
helping other people
Yeah.
and other actors and all industries.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
so it's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Moving Spotlight podcast. If you can, and I know you can because your fingers work, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice.
Your little fingies, start clicking away. And we're also on YouTube, so please like and subscribe and do all the things. Hit that bell, subscribe, do the things. We need it. We want it.
Oh my God. Yeah. And we also have a Patreon page,
Mhm.
which is blowing up. So get on there, help us create more episodes. So if you're listening to us, check us out, YouTube, podcasts of your choice, any of these things, give us a listen.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the
Moving Spotlight Podcast.